Hey, everyone. Oops. It's right and left. There's Tommy. Tommy. How are you today? How are you? I'm hoping my setup, a few notes about just the logistics of things. I'm hoping my setup is good. If you're here in true time, daylight savings time, could you pop something in the chat? Maybe that the sound is good, that it was easy to find me, something, just say hello in the chat, that would be really helpful. I think I might have set up, 2 2 2 streams. Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you. That's good to know. We're here together. Thanks so much for joining. And today's exploration, I've been kind of thinking the last few weeks about food, sharing meals, and the connection to our communities, to each other, to the whole context of our lives. So that theme will continue today. We'll start with a little bit of centering. I'll talk about my theme. We'll do some very mini movement. It'll be breath centered again today, and then we'll slide right into stillness as is the usual pattern of things here. So have what you need to be comfortable. I like to have a drink to sip, my warm drink. Something to cover myself with. If I get chillier, this space tends to get chilly. So check in with yourself. I was feeling I needed to get the self talk to be more kind this week to myself. And on a one day, I specifically made that an intention to catch those thoughts that sort of work against us and add some supporting ones. And later in the afternoon, you know how the some of the teas, yogi tea, has little messages on the tag on the tea bag, and it said, "Be kind to yourself." The universe is listening. So you might choose. You might already be in a seated position. You might be on your back. Might be on your back with your legs supported. And again, thank you to those of you who are here with me in real time streaming or in post time in watching the video. So, and you might choose to be maybe you're on your bed still, maybe you're lying on your side. So, for the whole of this, you can choose your position. I'll be favoring certain ones, and I'll let you know when there are times when there's a specific reason for, especially for the movement section, that the orientation to gravity matters or makes a difference with the functions of our body, the physics, the levers and pulleys of our body. So arriving to this spot, arriving here together, separately but together, separately feeling our individual spot of real estate that we're on. Right here. And how is it feeling through our body, through our sensing, are the ways that we know, we perceive, and allowing ourselves, sort of allowing the full arrival. Stopping from activities of the body, of the mind, of the personality even, and really feeling. In fact, as I say those words to you, and so often what almost always what's happening to me as I'm saying these guiding words, I'm also feeling and reporting to myself what's happening. This feel of the I'm sitting a little bit more on the hard rather than on my blanket, on the harder floor, which is a carpet and then tile floor on top of um, concrete. And it's a very distinct feeling. And your textures and the way the mass of your body feels this through the tissues of the body, the bones, the skin, the cells, the nerves, all reporting back into the brain and nervous system. Your way of what you're sensing is unique to now and unique to you. And perhaps you're noticing as we get more still the breath, your breath coming in and out. And as we follow that track of breath, you can still be at least peripherally aware of the parts of your body responding to gravity and likely letting go, or you may notice places that are lifting in and up, even if you're lying down and there feels like there's a choice, but it's a very quick response to just let go. You might feel places in the head, the jaw, around the eyes start to soften as we surrender more and more of the various responsibilities, tasks, impulses, and simply come to being. Breath, coming back to that and perhaps sensing into your belly now, that whole abdominal area. And perhaps without losing a sense of the peripheral. So, our peripheral vision is not as it's not um, as high res as our the more forward vision, and similarly, our feeling kind of just backgrounded, a sense of gravity and all that we've touched on as we watch and feel breathing now, especially in the belly. So that's the high res focus. And as you're sensing the flow of breath, the feel of the spaces of breath, perhaps there's a gurgling, perhaps there's a feel of ease in some parts, a feel of resistance or even contraction in some other parts. And imagine now that as you're attending to breath, you're doing it through listening. You're listening and open your listening to more than just the breath, to the space around, near and farther, but still feeling the easy anchoredness of right here. And perhaps there's a stillness calling or arriving. So there's this integration of our sensing, our body, our mind, our emotion, our heart, all our organs, all our functions, along with our surroundings, our context, our history, our future. And in a light way, the part of us that can be attentive, the consciousness. And prior to that, what I like to reference, our most fundamental essence. Often I term it awareness. Easily receives all this, just enjoys it all, allows. And from time to time during our practice today, now, and as we go through the next minutes, when you sense that awareness with a capital A, that presence, feel free to linger there, to be, rest as it, be it, although you don't have to do anything, you already are it, we already are it. So the chapter I referenced, I think last week, maybe also the week before, in an ancient, I think it's Vedantic period writing called the Taittiriya Upanishad, says we are food, we come from food, we come from food, we become food. We fix food for ourselves. We need it for survival. It encourages us to share it with others. So much powerful around food. And the thumbnail I used for today's practice that's on YouTube is of a local bakery chain that when I first walked in and saw these, what they call Jerusalem bagels, as a young teen, I went to school in Jerusalem in an English school, Anglican school. And on break, we'd go out the campus, and there was a cart that sold these along with other goodies. And the memory of food from our childhood. As I tell you that story, there's so many rich sensory memories in my body as well as my mind and heart. A joy 50 years, 50 some years later to see that in the local bakery. Mm. So we are connected. I am connected to that land that is in the news these days. We're all connected to it in some way. Maybe you have a friend, maybe you have family there, maybe you have friends who do or are somehow connected. And we're connected as humans. We're connected through our compassion. We're connected through our common ways we know suffering. So I've taken us on a way tangent. Can you still be in your body now as we come to our breathing practice? And so, why I even pose this to myself, this connectedness, and so many of us the heartstrings are pulled. So, what can we do? And there are many things we can do. There's ways we can donate, there's ways we can contribute uh, in social action, tangible action, political action. And there's ways we can just do things very local to ourselves that ripple out. And again, coming prior to that which we share most fundamentally with all other beings, this awareness, this presence. and honoring that in this kind of paradoxical way that we are both very much connected, but we are very much unique. And what we have to offer is so different than what anyone else can, different and unique and special and vital to ourself, to the planet, to the universe. Maybe I was going to change the poem I read. In fact, I will read it a little bit later, grab the book in front of me. So let's come to breathing, and I'll bring the poem in just a little while. I'm thinking of just coming back to sensing the breath in the body and perhaps noticing yourself breathing out of both nostrils evenly, or it might not be completely even, but um, as evenly as possible. You might notice actually that there's a kind of difference in the two in the two nostrils. Just as much as your mind may popcorn out, may plop out, or run away, or take on a whole different movie inside. The moment you notice, there need not be any judgment or punishment. We just come back and actually celebrate that we remember this essence of ourself, this essence of ourself. And now imagine and feel that you inhale, but through the left side of your body and nostril, all the way to just above your head, and then exhale down through the right side. And inhaling back up the right side of the body and down, back down through the left side, breathing out. And then inhaling back up the left, this you might be familiar with. Exhaling down through the right, alternate nostril breathing, but we're making it alternate body side breathing. So bringing in any of the tools that help us. Couple more rounds. Lighter, easier, more relaxed in the shoulders and the brow. And the next time that you exhale out the left side of your body, down and out, just let the breathing come back to however it wants to travel. And just see for yourself, feel, see, note. You may be sensing just more at the sensory level, but words may be coming for your experience. If they're not, don't force them, but if they are, kind of repeat them slowly to yourself, even out loud in your space. Full belly contentment. When you hear the words, if you get the words, if no words are coming, just stay there with the sensory and prior to sensory feel. And so my words didn't feel quite accurate as I heard them I heard myself speak them. More like orb, orb, happy belly, friction. The words may not necessarily make sense. They might be like sort of riddles, poetry, koan like even. And this naming becomes this play between like this receiving of the constantly changing manifest world into our own unique experience and our recognition of it, how we recognize it. Another person may feel nearly the same thing and name it otherwise, perceive it otherwise, name it otherwise. And this helps to guide us into how we take our perception and processes of our self, our being, our character, and live it. And it's really optimal to have stillness to quiet the vicissitudes and grabbings and patterns of the mind and see freshly. And so let's let this segue into our about a 6 minute, maybe 7 minute timed meditation. Maybe making, as I am, just a little adjustment in your seat as we begin the stillness portion. On the tail of that naming practice, coming into the meditation, into stillness and silence, simply residing, resting in awareness, as one of Adyashanti's phrases, resting as awareness. And so the naming practice, in a sense, it happens organically when we're practicing meditation. And rather than make it a problem, rather than seeing it that way, which is natural, once again, once you notice, you can just set it aside, thank in a way, thank it. It's a great little practice, knowing you can come back to it later in that conscious way. and simply come back. All the words and practices leading up to this serve us. As I say, simply come back, but I fully recognize sometimes it feels like a huge struggle, something huge we're dealing with that makes it so difficult to simply come back to being, stillness, silence. A few more breaths together, about 7. And so, my friends, we bring our practice together to a close this Sunday morning ritual. As you note the conclusion of our practice, maybe with a bow and a palms in front of your heart as I am, maybe in a different way. Note the feelings and the meanings of the gesture that you're expressing, that we are to ourself and each other. And as you go through your day and your week, and I pose this to myself to take these same themes of while we can enjoy the food or whatever it is that we're enjoying, the activity and the particular sensory or even mental stimulation or whatever we're doing and how we're engaged and enjoying, to also lean back just as if into that part of ourself that is our source, our our greatest safety. And I'm still on this path of feeling what that is. There are many ways in all our spiritual traditions and philosophical ones of how we identify that and find it for ourselves, most importantly, because it is a lasting, at least the way I see it, the lasting, um, and beyond all suffering, beyond the um, finiteness of our life, and yet it holds and beautifies and informs all of life. So I was thinking about a poem called, I think, Eclipse. Maybe you know it, and I don't think it's in this book that was close at hand. So I'll put it in the notes. And I just thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And really thank all of you who join in this practice making the community of it.